Hello, Sonder fam. Welcome to our Saturday evening weekly setup. If I haven't had the pleasure to meet you yet, my name is Bailey and I will be your facilitator today. I'm dialing in from Hendersonville, Tennessee, which is just north of the Nashville area. I see lots of familiar names in the chat, so welcome back. Good to be here with you all. If you are newer to this Sonder Social experience, if it's your first one or your first few or anything like that, definitely let us know in the chat so that we can all give you like a big warm welcome. If you have not been to one of these before, if this is one of your first ones, or even if it's just your first one in a while, just a reminder that you want to make sure that your chat is set to everyone. And what I mean by that is the little box where you type in there in the chat area, it has a little drop down, and you want to make sure that drop down says everyone. So that way everyone can see what you have to share. A lot of the times it'll default to host and panelist. And if it's host and panelist, that will only come to myself and the amazing Jen O, who is also here with us tonight. She'll be hanging out in the chat and helping me out because I can't do two things at once. So she's there in the chat tonight as well. But make sure it's set to everyone so that you can share with your community that's all here with you today. As we go through, definitely feel free to take screenshots and snap photos, but also this is being recorded. And the recordings are usually uploaded pretty quickly now within like a day or so, if not sooner. I feel like lately it's been like within a couple hours. So if you need to go back and rewatch anything, if you're like, oh, I forgot to get that, or I wanted to re-listen to that again, this is being recorded. So no stress, no pressure. You can definitely go back. First and foremost, for our community guidelines, please be kind and courteous to yourself and to others. No promotions or spam, please. Here we respect everyone's privacy and we do not allow any hate speech or bullying. If we did, we would not be a very good community. If you would limit any like repetitive product and accessory questions, obviously Jennifer and I don't mind a little bit of chatter about that, and we're happy to help where we can. But we want to make sure that you all have enough time to do your activities today. And speaking of questions, if there's anything that myself and Jen cannot help with, we will redirect you to hello@silkandsonder.com. That is the email address for the team over at headquarters, and they have access to a lot more things than we do. So if we can't help you with something, they'll be happy to help you out. And then finally, Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, which is all of you amazing people. But you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if you need to come in a little late, that's fine. If you need to scoot out a little early, that's fine. If you need to skip a prompt and come back to it later, that's fine. If you need this time to just be you in your journal, that's fine. If you need this time to just be you in the chat, that's fine too. Anything is fine with us so long as it is okay with you. Sometimes some emotions can creep up on us and the things that we do here and catch us off guard and catch us by surprise. Sometimes it's like a very innocuous like little prompt that's like, oh, I did not expect this to bring up these feelings. So if that happens, just, be gentle with yourself, move through it the way that feels right for you. It's always okay to come back to something later if it doesn't feel good today. So we will do our flow mind map. We're going to do our rosebud and thorn exercise, which will kind of look back on the last week with some balance before we get into our weekly setup pages, thinking about the week ahead. And our theme this month is flow. Hopefully you know that because Jennifer and I were talking at the beginning of this that it's crazy that like it's June 20th. Like, how is it already June 20th? July will be here in like 10 days. It's crazy to me. I feel like this month has just zoomed by. But if you didn't know for some reason, our theme this month is flow. And I really liked these quotes up on the screen. They resonated for me with flow, especially the one from Jay-Z that says, don't ever go with the flow, be the flow. I think that is a really important distinction with this theme of going with the flow doesn't necessarily mean just going along with whatever is around you and what's happening. It means going along with whatever is right for you. So I really liked that quote. And something that's come up in a lot of discussion around this theme in particular throughout the month that I've seen so far is kind of what constitutes flow, because a lot of definitions when it comes to flow and some examples things we'll talk about flow being related to productivity. And I think for some of us that has made flow feel limiting. But if you slow down and think about what productivity is, at an individual level, productivity is not about just doing more tasks or staying busy. Instead, it refers to making progress and achieving your intended goals. But literally anything can be a goal. And I think that's where a lot of us have been like getting stuck is like, oh, well, flow is about productivity. So I got to work on this big project, or, I've really been trying to move more. So I need to make my focus, moving my body and not just doing 5,000 steps a day, but 10,000 steps a day or whatever it is. But rest can be a goal. Leisure can be a goal. To embrace flow, I think we have to kind of reconsider what it means to be productive and allow ourselves to chase after things we love and enjoy with intention, right? Flow, I think, is really supposed to be more of like a joy magnet, because it's supposed to be bringing you towards things that help you be completely immersed in whatever it is, lose track of time. So if that's reading a book for you, that counts. There's a lot of things in your brain that you have to use when you read. It can even be like watching a specific TV show, especially ones that make you think, like the mysteries and stuff, where you're trying to put it all together and figure out what happens. Like, if it speaks to you, if it brings joy, if it's something that helps you be present in the moment and like feel like you're getting through something, like if your goal is to watch a season of something because you never make time for yourself to do that, that can be a goal, that can be productivity, that can be flow. So don't box yourself in, and also think about, what do you need to create space for all of the goals that you want or need to experience flow in? And we're going to talk a little bit about that in our mind map prompt today as well. So speaking of the mind map, if you're new here, the mind map is a journal prompt that is specific to our current theme of the month. And it is unique only to the weekly socials. So if you come and hang out with us at a social, you'll get one of these little themed prompts that you get to do in your journal. If you can't make it, that's still okay. You can always just catch the recording if you miss a weekly social. But this is not pre-printed in the journal anywhere, so you'll want to find like a blank page or space in your journal to do this. I like to just do mine on the very last page of the journal because it's easy to flip back to. And we do something each and every week. So if you've missed the last 2 weeks, don't panic. They are here if you would like to do them, or if you want to go back and view the socials from the last couple of weeks and be guided through them, you can do that on the YouTube page with recordings as well. But you don't have to. You could just start here with week 3. You don't have to do all 3 weeks. Whatever works for you, again, is going to work for us. So our prompt this week is, if I were building a bridge over the rapids of my life, what support, boundaries, or changes would help me cross with more trust and steadiness? So going to connect this into the theme of flow, thinking about times where you experience struggles or when things get hard, but also when things maybe just derail you from the things that you want to do, right? Like, oh, well, I had a goal to like start working on this scrapbooking project, or I had a goal that I wanted to start learning how to knit and take these courses, but now this other thing has happened and it's pulling me away from this. So thinking about when things get rough, but also when things just kind of pull you away from those like joy magnets, right? What are some things, whether it's support, boundary, or changes, that would help you with that? So for me, what I said is like more physical community support, like specifically friends I love and can count on who live close-ish proximity to me, and who I could support in return. I have an amazing like friend network of people that are my people and that I love. But so many of them are not here where I live. That we are scattered across the country, across the globe. And we're very intentional about making time for one another. But at the end of the day, there are just some things in life where having like a close physical community is really important. So that's something that I would like to try to build up the courage to seek out more. I'm definitely an introvert, so it's tough for me to like put myself in spaces and meet strangers, right, in the hopes that they will become friends. But I'm getting better at it. I have done it a little bit and connected with more people than I expected over the last couple years, I just keep connecting with people who don't live here. So I need to try to connect locally and see if I can increase that a bit more. And then also just continuing to say no to places and spaces where I'm not valued and continuing to improve my financial, mental, and physical health. All of those things would help me when things get a little tough, are going to help me have balance, and help me cross with more trust and steadiness as those things come through. I've got a couple of little quotes and pictures and things up on the screens that may give you a little encouragement and spark some inspiration. But I'm going to put on some music for you all to think about this prompt and how it resonates with you. And I'll hop back and forth between the slides while the music is playing. If you feel comfortable sharing in the chat with us what you end up putting on your page, we would love to see it. Yeah, and then after a couple minutes, we will move into our next activity. Okay, thank you all for spending some time with our week 3 mind map prompt. We are now going to hop over to page 44 in the journal to complete our rose, bud, thorn exercise. So, just thinking about the last 7 days or so with a little bit of balance and some perspective before we kind of think about planning for the next 7 days ahead. So a rose is going to be something that went well, something that maybe made you smile. Sometimes the rose is just that you made it through the week. It could be the sunshine outside or the air conditioner inside if you're in a place like me where it's been pretty spicy outside lately. A bud is what could bloom, something that's ahead on the horizon. It could be something you're looking forward to, maybe something you're a little nervous about, maybe a bit of both. And then a thorn, maybe something that didn't go so well that you could use some support and encouragement around. I like to do these in reverse, so I always do mine as like thorn, bud, and rose. So my thorn is that I had one of those days this week where I just turned my neck the wrong way, and whatever I did just set off a whole chain reaction. And I woke up Thursday and couldn't really move my head past this point. Thankfully, it's a bit better now. It's still a little pinchy, but I was able to use some like balm to tide me over until I could get into the chiropractor. And it's on the mend, but it's always tough to have any kind of neck pain. My bud is that I actually got a new bike, and I'm excited. I am definitely not in biking shape, but we had a couple of bikes that like my husband had kind of like inherited or like gotten over the years and stuff, and none of them fit me because he is 6'3" and I am 5'3". So anytime I was trying to maybe decide to, do bike stuff, it just never worked because I could never get comfortable. I could never get the right position. So we decided to go ahead and get me a bike that actually works for me and my size and my frame and everything. So I'm excited about trying to work up to that. But right now there's not a lot of stamina, so I've got some work to do there. And then my rose is that actually this morning I got to go with a friend to a local bakery here in town. They put together a high tea that was Bridgerton themed, and it was so cute and it was so fun. And you could tell that they were just like really excited about it and like so happy that so many people came. I love supporting small businesses, and I love it when the owners like are so involved like that. So it was a great time. It was a wonderful experience. We will definitely be back. So yeah, that's my rose, bud, and thorn. I'm going to put on a song for you all to reflect back and think about your own roses, buds, and thorns. If you would like to share in the chat, I would absolutely love to see what you're putting down for this. This is one of my favorite things we do in the weekly setup because I just feel like it gives us a little glimpse into each other's worlds and what's going on. thank you all for spending some time thinking about last week before moving into next week and for sharing in the chat. And I just saw Greta said that their rose is the same as their I'm loving, and loving seeing all the social media posts from tourists here for the World Cup. I've been loving that too. It's been really, really cool to see everything kind of through somebody else's eyes. And I think we see a lot of like, or I see a lot of stuff in my feed of like people in the US traveling to other places and kind of being like amazed and enamored. So it's kind of cool to see it like work the other way and just see all the like camaraderie and like people making like new friends. And yeah, it's been really cool to see. So I've liked that too, Greta. With that said, we are now going to hop over to our main event, which is our weekly setup. And we're going to be setting up on pages 46 and 47 today. But before we flip over there, if you did a setup last week, just take a second and kind of flip through and take a look at how last week went and ask yourself if there's anything on there that worked really well that you should definitely carry over into this week, or if there's anything that maybe didn't really work for you that you're kind of open to changing, because we're going to be showing a lot of different ideas and things up on the screen, and something might speak to you. And sometimes it helps to kind of have in your head like, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out this space, or I don't really know, what's working for me here, or what I want to try next here, since you're about to see a lot of different ideas. And then those things that are working really well for you, when we get to those sections, definitely share those in the chat, because you never know who else may need that great idea that you're using. So now that you've kind of taken a second and just taken a peek at last week, we're going to hop over into this week. The Silk and Sonder Instagram page has a lot of like really fun content and stuff on it. If you are on Instagram and you're not following them, definitely give them a follow. They posted this at the beginning of the month. So whether you are already doing this, or if you were thinking about doing this, or if this sounds like a great idea for you, we are here in the 30 Days of Flow calendar, where they've kind of got a few little, almost like bingo items. Some of it's a little like journal prompty things to carry you through the month. So that is there if you are doing that. Keep that in mind as you set up for the week this week. And then this is an example of carrying a theme all the way through your pages if it feels right to you. So I'll show you my pages in a second, and then we're going to tackle each of these sections together. But one of the first things that we're going to look at is the how I want to feel area in the top right. And you can decide how you want to feel as you move through the week, and then decide to carry that all the way through your journal. So this person said that they wanted to feel soft, and they kept that in mind when they set their major 3 goals of soft thoughts, soft body, soft interactions. And then they did their top 3 kind of in conjunction with that. They set up habits and activities about listening to soft music, and softening their gaze and all of those kinds of things. For the meal plan, they did like some meal things, but they tried to give themselves like some balance and some like intentions instead of hard and fast rules, so it felt more flexible and soft. And then they've got the small ways to soften over in the shopping list section. So this is just an example of how you can decide to carry something all the way through these pages if that speaks to you. But if it doesn't, that's okay too. So for me, I don't typically carry one particular theme all the way through my pages. Sometimes the how I want to feel section is actually the last thing that I fill in, because until I get everything else out on the page, I can't really wrap my head around how I want to feel. And that's just a difference, and different things work for different people. So it's just an example of that. So if you are a feeling, grounding, carry it all the way through person, awesome, run with that. If you're like me and you're like, I don't know what feeling I want to call in until I can get this all organized, then I am right there with you, and it's totally fine for you to skip that how I want to feel until the end and come back to it later. So we are going to take this section by section, starting with how I want to feel in the top right of page 46. So again, thinking about how you want to feel as you move through your week, maybe how you want to feel this same time next week. If there's some particular feeling that is going to help ground you and give you what you need as you go through this weekly setup, go ahead and write that in that little space. There's a little blurb of words there to kind of give you some inspiration, or maybe a little aha. And then I've got some examples to show you on the next slide as well. For me, I like to use my word of the year in this space. So that word of the year for me is cultivate. So each week there is something that I want to be cultivating or trying to cultivate. And this week I want to cultivate stamina for my new bike. So that's what I'm going to try to cultivate this week. And then here are some other really good examples of this how I want to feel section. You can see this person in the top left said this month I want to feel. So they've decided to feel flow through this entire month. You can decide to do like a whole few sentences to describe how you want to feel, or just a single word, or a sticker, or both. You can write quotes. You can do anything that speaks to you here that will help you understand what that feeling is, because sometimes we set up our journal on like a Saturday or a Sunday, and then by Wednesday we're like, huh? What do you mean? I wanted to feel this. What is this? So whatever's going to help you call back to that feeling and that intention, write that in that space. So I'll put on a quick song for you all. Share with us in the chat how you want to feel, and then we'll move into our next section. All right, we're going to hop down to the center of that same page, so still on page 46, and we're taking a look at the weekly to-dos and weekly major 3 goals sections together. I like to look at these together because sometimes people like to pair them up, sometimes people like to switch them around. They're kind of there in the same spot as well, so I like to kind of combine these when I'm going through my setup. But I do not actually combine them in my journal. I do keep mine separate. So my weekly to-dos are always my actual like events or appointments or whatever I have going on in that little mini calendar there. And then my weekly major 3 goals, instead of goals, I put the 3 affirmations that the Silk and Sonder personalized coach gives to me, because it gives those to me once each week. So it's kind of perfect for me. I have found that I used to write like goals and intentions in that space, and at least for me, it didn't help. It didn't help. It just stressed me out. So instead, I do affirmations there, and that works really well for me. Here are some other examples of these spaces kind of used in conjunction to one another. So for example, on the left is a good example of how to just take what you need. Somebody just wanted to focus on the 3 major goals of self-care and then put a sticker for those to-dos. If you don't want to do to-dos, just put a sticker on it. If you don't want to do the major 3, don't do the major 3. This is your journal. Do whatever it is you want that speaks to you. Take what you need. You can pair things up, as I mentioned. The kind of like top right-ish example, they actually paired, their home health and then no foam after 9 a.m., both with their to-dos and then also with those habits and activities. The person in the bottom right actually paired the 3 to-dos over onto a grid for like their major 3. So I think they've actually kind of swapped those a little bit because they've got like 3 major focuses on the to-do side and then carving out their little bingo to support those 3 major things over there on the right. And again, you can switch this up completely, change a space to affirmations, make your to-dos over on the other side if you like those grid lines better, whatever is going to work for you. Here are some more examples for the to-dos section. When you are thinking about your to-dos, if you're somebody that has got like a never-ending to-do list, you are one person, and this is 1 week. And it is okay to not be able to do it all. So if you need to kind of think about this Eisenhower decision matrix in the top left when trying to pare down that to-do list to something that's actually reasonable, that could be a really great place to start and help you figure out what is really like urgent and important for you to focus on. If, like me, you often have the same to-dos over and over again, the Pomodoro technique may be something you want to take a peek at. It can be really good for like executive dysfunction if you have ADHD or something similar that helps you, that makes you struggle with like getting started on things and like completing tasks. Doing that Pomodoro technique can help you finally get started with some of those things. Of course, you can use this as an actual to-do list or for reminders. You could also turn this into a to-do list. So instead of writing down things you need to do, you write down things as you do them. And then at the end of the week, you have a whole list of all kinds of things that you did. And that can feel really empowering, help you build some momentum. You can switch this over to a to be list or think about a need, want, hope list. I think a need, want, and hope list is actually a great way to invite in that theme of flow, thinking about those joy activities, right, that we talked about at the beginning today. Of course, you can turn either of these sections into a bingo. And again, feel free to cover either space or both spaces up with stickers. I always say if a sticker brings a smile to your face, it is serving a purpose. So don't be afraid to stick them and give yourself that little burst of joy. You can also use these spaces to carve out routines or maybe write a little letter to yourself, some words of encouragement, or a journaling space. And with that major three, you can focus on three different areas, or you can focus on three specific tasks, whatever is going to feel right to you. Again, you can call back to that feeling of how you want to feel as you move through the week. You could do affirmations or self-care focus here, or you can switch it up, again, move things around as needed, or make this fun. Like when you are thinking about those kind of joy activities and like what helps you feel in flow and makes you lose track of time, like can you put some things here that is like, okay, I love to read. So this week I'm going to listen to 3 different books, or I'm going to engage with 3 of my hobbies, right? Can you invite kind of those things back into your week a little bit more in these spaces? So I will hop back through all of these slides, and then I'm going to put on some music again. So that you guys can work on these pages and kind of take a peek at these things again as you move through. Okay. Hopefully you are able to decide how you would like to use these sections. If you're still deciding, don't panic. Just come back to it in a little bit. Something else that you see may spark your brain, or we may talk about doing something in a different section and you're like, "Ooh, actually, oh, actually, I want to do that over here." So speaking of over here, we're gonna drop down to the bottom of page 46, looking at the habits and activities section. Now, obviously, we have that big giant habit wheel at the front of your journal that are kind of for daily habits. This space gives you a little bit more flexibility. So you can certainly focus on habits here, especially if it's something that maybe you just want to do 1 or 2 times a week or once a week, something you want to try out as far as new habits, or you can change this up completely, focus more on the activities side. I guess tomorrow is like the first full day of summer, right? Isn't it tomorrow or the next day? It's very, very soon. So maybe you'll want to embrace some seasonal activities. Jennifer's saying yes. Thank you, Jennifer. For me, I definitely repurpose this space because I like to focus my habits over on that habit wheel side. But I listen to a lot of stuff on audio, a lot of audiobooks, the radio, podcasts, different things. So this is where I'm keeping track of my audio fuel each week. So I kind of know what I'm listening to and what I'm making progress on. It's been kind of fun. Here are some other examples of how you can use this space. Again, you can decide to actually set a goal or intention of how often you want to do this thing, whether it's every day this week or just a few times a week or even just 1 time a week. You can skip the goals area completely and just track things how they come up. If you're trying to break a habit, so tracking like how often you're not doing something, this might be a good space for that. I have used this before to help build out specific areas of routine or focus, and that has worked pretty well. You can fill in every line that's here or just pick a few. And I like the example that's in sort of the center of the screen where the goal section is. They actually wrote data. It's kind of like a reminder to themselves of like, hey, this is just the data of me. It's okay if I don't do something. It's okay if I do something. Like the goal is to kind of just get visibility here. So I really like that reminder. And then here are some other examples of how you could set this up. You could try listing an actual reward for yourself at the end. Like if I do this thing 5 times, then I'm going to do this thing for myself. You can actually plan specific days for you to complete activities by kind of circling them out there. And then of course, you can also make sure that you are bracketing in time for rest, especially if the activities that you have are kind of intensive, whether it's physical or a lot of social energy or whatever that looks like for you. You could also use this as a space to like connect with others or yourself, or to mark your progress in your journal. Like, oh, I did my habit tracker, I did my mood tracker, I did the daily ritual, right? You could do those things here. And then there are some other fun little graphics there, again, from the Silk and Sonder Instagram page. And also, again, I will hop back through these slides for you and put on a quick bit of music, and then we'll move into our next sections together. All right, we are finally flipping that page over to page 47, and we are starting in the top left slash all of the left of the page there with the meal plan section. Now, this gets repurposed a lot, not because having a meal plan isn't a good thing. Depending on what your goals are, it could be very helpful. Or a meal tracker, that's kind of an easy repurpose to change from a plan to a tracker. It just takes up a lot of real estate in the journal every single week. It's a whole half a page, and the layout works for a ton of different things. So even some people that like to meal plan, sometimes they use a different part of the journal or something different completely to do their meal planning, but then they'll use the space for something else. For me, I use this for my work meetings. It really has saved my tail more than once, having my work meetings here and then like my personal like appointments and stuff on the other page, because I have definitely double booked myself before, and it's a lot easier to do something about that when you see it at the beginning of the week than it is the day of. So that is what I do in these spaces, because it is definitely helping me. But there's all kinds of things you can do here. Again, using it as a meal plan, if that is what you need, awesome, do that. Using it as a meal tracker, if that's what you need, awesome, do that. If you want to do something a little bit different, I know a lot of people like to write their affirmations here. Some people will do quotes, or they may give themselves like some different journal prompts and things to do here. I think some people will use this space for like the daily rituals as well. I don't have very small handwriting, so I've tried that before, but I feel like I run out of room. But if you have nice, neat, tidy handwriting, you might be able to use these spaces for that. The person over on the left here is using this to track their fruits and veggies and also yoga and stretch. I kind of like how they divided that into like a little grid to track those different things. I've seen a lot of folks in Sonder Club use this as a doodling space, kind of like that other example that you see there, and I love that. I love, love, love doodles. I am absolutely obsessed with them. I think they are so cool and so unique and so personal to each person, and so I love to see people using those spaces in that way. Again, some people will use this for like journal prompts or asking how they felt, how did I fill up my cup today? Some people will do like a daily rose in this section. And then some people will put their to-dos over here. And this is a great place to put your to-dos, especially if you have a lot of them. And if you need to kind of really schedule out when you're going to do those things, having that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. layout can really help with that. So again, I will hop through these slides. I know I'm probably sounding like a broken record with some music on, and then we'll move into our final sections together. Hopping over to the right-hand side of the page now, we're going to take a look at the Mind Body Health Plan and the shopping list section. These are another part of the journal that I like to combine together in my setups because they get repurposed a lot. It's just one of those things where some people feel like the mind body health is already being taken care of in other areas, or they use something else for their shopping list management, whatever the case may be. Either way, when they get repurposed, a lot of the times they get repurposed for the same things because they're kind of a similar size and shape. And so I like to kind of put these together. So for me, in the Mind Body Health Plan section, I actually just do a little journaling about the quote of the week that is just above it. I've really enjoyed kind of that little moment of reflection. And then in my shopping list section, that is where I keep my big list of to-dos. These are like my to-dos that, like, I'm not going to be doing my floors and painting the kitchen and fixing the flower beds and everything all in one week, right? Like that there's no way that's going to happen. I am not capable of all of those things that are listed there in a single week. But if I don't write them out each week, I kind of lose sight or lose track of those kind of lingering to-dos. And then if I do have an opportunity, like, oh, the weather is actually going to be favorable for doing one of these things this weekend, I'll forget to do it. So I write them out every single week, and it's really exciting whenever I do get to like cross one off. So here are some other examples of how you might use this space. Of course, you can use them as intended. A lot of people will use the mind body health section to kind of track different symptoms of things that are going on, or carve out, their like workout schedules, if they're going to like fitness classes, if they're trying to create a theme with like what they're planning for their meal plan as well. Like maybe they're doing like meatless Mondays. So they'll kind of put those themes here in this section for the mind body health. Some people will completely switch these areas up and change them to quotes like packing list, word of the day or Wordle, anything fun that you do like that. If you like play any kind of games, tracking progress on those things. I really like the washi scraps. Like it feels like, what's the word I'm looking for? Abstract art to me. So I've always really liked that washi scraps example. Some folks will focus in on the theme. I like the idea of giving yourself a little bit of applause each day. I think that's really cute. You can focus on the different types of rest in these sections. Again, you can think about ways to focus on your physical health, but also thinking about your mental health. For those of us that are introverted, thinking about getting that time and space alone to recharge can be a great way to carve out some things here. And you don't have to list something for every single day of the week, right? You can be like, on Wednesday, I am going to read alone in a room and recharge. Or on Tuesday, I am going to this workout class and that is what I'm doing for the week. Just because there's a blank space doesn't mean something has to go there. I also really like the I feel and I need T-chart. And then I think that this for the shopping list was actually kind of cool. The no shopping, like instead enjoy all you already have. You've got books, you've got craft projects, you've got healthy food options. So kind of trying to reinforce those behaviors and things that they've already invested in. So again, I will hop back through all of these slides here. Definitely share it with us if you're using these sections as one of these things, or if you're doing something different. And then if you can believe it, it'll be time for us to close out together. It always goes by way too fast. if you can believe it, that is going to be the end of our time together this evening. This little guy has figured out it's time. He's like, Mom, come play with me now. As we're closing out together, if you would like to share what you are loving, it could be what you're loving in this moment, generally throughout your week as you move through your weeks. For me, I'm loving my new bike and also Kitty Snuggles when he will cooperate. He's getting a little impatient here, but definitely share in the chat with us what you are loving as we close out our time together. If you feel comfortable sharing your weekly pages in Sonder Club, we would love to see those. All of the examples that you saw on screen today, outside of the ones that I told you were mine, absolutely came from Sonder Club. So thank you so much for sharing those of you that have shared. And if you feel comfortable sharing, we would love to see those pages. If you haven't tried the Silk and Sonder Coach, you can still try that for free and share your feedback. I use it every single week in my setup for my affirmations, and it's been really cool to see the evolution of it actually. Like, I really have started like slowing down again and really paying attention to what I'm getting each week, and it's been really helpful and very spot on. So lots of really cool improvements if you haven't tried it out, or if you tried it out a while ago, maybe try it out again because it's changed a lot. And then I will share my playlists in the chat. I actually like grabbed them all together so that I could share them quickly for once. But I just have like one giant master playlist that has everything in it. And then I have a playlist that is all instrumentals and then a playlist that is all vocals. So you all feel free to find those, listen to them, pull songs out of them for your own playlist, whatever works for you. But most of all, thank you all so much for being here today and spending this time with yourself and with your broader community. It is such a joy for us to be able to hold this space and spend this time together. And I hope that you have a great rest of your weekend. And until next time, be good to each other, and we'll see you all in Sonder Club. Bye.
Tomorrow, shining at the end of every day. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a dream away.